Welcome to She's in the Weeds.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Hollis.
We're best friends exploring the intersection of pop culture and the female experience.
Be sure to follow us on socials and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if you love us, give us that 5-star review.
Nailed it?
I think it's fine. Hello.
Record me saying that.
No, I don't think so. You got it in right before the buzzer.
Oh, good. Hey, everybody, we're back.
We are so back.
It feels like it's been a long time.
Well, we did a doubleheader and had one banked, so we didn't. It feels like a while, but
we're back and fresh-faced and rested.
That's right.
You got a killer episode coming at you.
I mean, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's just kick it off because I need to know your thoughts on this.
Okay.
I went to Aldi, and me and you shop at Aldi. You know, you have to have the quarter for the cart. And every once in a while, somebody will be like returning a cart as you're walking in, and you just hand them the quarter and then, take the cart. So I was walking in. I was walking up to the cart thing to get my cart. I was like almost there. There was a guy in front of me getting a cart, so I did have to stop and like wait for him to get the cart, but I was already up there. And this woman comes out with her cart and she's like, "Oh, do you want this one?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, great." And she's like, "Okay, let me just go unload." And I was like, and I was like, it's okay. Like, it's a handoff situation.
Yeah, wait for you to unload
I'm not
groceries and bring it back.
Right.
Cart.
I know, right? And
no, lady.
Yeah. I felt bad though because
she was being nice.
She was being nice. And the thing too is she had a box in the cart with a few things and one bag. And so when she said, "Oh, do you want this one?" I thought she was just going to pick the stuff up out of the cart. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, she was like, "Oh, let me go to my car and unload." No,
there's other cards. I'll just not
I
wait.
was like, "Oh,
maybe,
that's okay."
Maybe
and she was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, my cart's not good enough for you.
Right.
Well, maybe she was trying to just be like, "Oh, I'll just give you my cart." Because, I feel like I've done that. But I don't get a cart normally at Aldi. I just, shove things in my bag like I'm smuggling.
Yeah. No, I do that, too, sometimes. I just take an empty bag in on my shoulder. Yeah.
But the times I have done the cart, I don't take people's quarter. I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what she meant. Like, I'll give this cart to you for free, but you have to wait on it. Also like,
no, I was literally standing there with my quarter, like ready to go. And yeah, I felt kind of bad, but I'm like, never mind. Yeah. That's okay.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks. If you can't hand it off in this exact moment.
No, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, for sure. So
I get that.
That's what I've been up to.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an interesting moment before you got here. I walked my dog for the first time today because it had been raining all day and she wasn't going outside. And I almost died. This part of the sidewalk had like this thin layer of mud on it that I didn't see. And I literally did the banana peel 1 foot. Like,
oh, no.
And managed to catch myself, but splattered mud all over. And the kicker is there were two people sitting on their porch and they both went, "Ooh." I think they
didn't get up.
I think they for sure thought I was going to eat it, but I didn't. I recovered and I was just like, "Oh." I was like, "We have to go home now."
Immediately. Get out of sight. Why is that kind of stuff so embarrassing? It really shouldn't be, but
yeah, I mean, this one wasn't so embarrassing as much as it was like, I'm so glad I didn't fall.
Yes.
I actually was just like, all right, I did it. I didn't even fall. So it kind of felt like a boss move, honestly. But,
right.
But yeah, it was definitely but we still need to leave.
It's slogging all those hours in the gym.
I mean, honestly, I really was my core is
my
so
core engaged.
It really did.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, Katie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple of Havoc circle backs, or I have a couple of corrections and then a circle back. So first correction, and I did put this in the description, the gang that 16th Street crew is inspired by is actually called the 18th Street Gang. In the first set of research that I was doing, it made it seem like it was a gang of the same name that it was being modeled after. Oh. And then upon further research, no, it's actually called the 18th Street Gang. So minor correction there. And then actually, the very last scene of the movie is not when the screen goes black and you hear the gunshot. The very last scene is a rollback to that first interview that Eric does with her in the parking lot, where she says, The thing is that we're teenagers and we're bored. We're totally fucking bored.
Yeah.
And that's actually the very last scene, which is like a small snippet of that very first scene. So anyway, not that that's like a huge thing, but
well, we are journalists, so
that's
we
right.
need to be accurate.
Yes. So wanted to just make those corrections. And then I feel like, you know, when we're doing those episodes, we're doing all this research and we're talking about it kind of as we're going along. And we made points along the way, but we didn't really kind of sum up exactly what we thought the overall message of the movie was, or like what they were really trying to convey. And it is kind of hard to figure out because we talked about how we think maybe they're trying to say multiple different things and not necessarily executing it well. But going back and listening to the episode and like kind of listening to us walk through it, I really think like the message of the movie was just sort of play with fire and you're going to get burned. There was this juxtaposition of Allie's like struggles and hardships against Hector's struggles and hardships. It could have been really impactful if they would have had some situation where Allie was faced with her own privilege and like actually had an understanding of no, like our struggles are not the same. And I think they kind of tried to say that through the story of sexual assault, except the message wasn't that. Then the message was just that, oh, actually, like, these are just dangerous guys, and now you've gotten gang raped, and and so instead of having a resolution and an aha moment for Allie in terms of her own privilege and sort of understanding some of these systemic issues and bringing more humanity to the 16th Street gang and those characters, instead they just ended up perpetuating these stereotypes and like blurring the lines of consent.
Yeah. So do you think their intentional message was play with fire, you get burned?
I kind of think
it resulted in that because they couldn't figure out how to tie up all the other
and maybe kind of both.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of both. But I do think there was a little bit of intention behind just like we're going to show how Allie kind of sees these parallels in their lives and like in her mind, maybe her and Hector are equals. And maybe she makes a realization of like, okay, maybe we're not quite equals, but really it seems like the realization is like, oh, actually these guys are dangerous and they're all just criminals and like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is interesting. It feels like such complex pathways to get to a sort of pedestrian message.
Exactly.
You know? Where it's just like the themes they used were very nuanced and complex. But yet, yeah, the ultimate message was not.
Right. And I think it could have been such an impactful movie if they would have resolved that naivete of Allie thinking that her and Hector are equals, like I have struggles, he has struggles. They would have sort of resolved that storyline with a different conflict besides the rape. I don't think that they needed the rape at all.
No.
There could have been some other conflict or climactic situation, you know, showed some of the systemic issues of that lifestyle and how it provides protection and opportunities. And there's very complicated interpersonal relationships and all of this history and stuff. I think it could have been very impactful and like a good movie that sent a positive, productive message.
Yeah.
And they really botched it with the gang rape.
But it almost feels dismissive of the fact that of the severity of rape.
Yes.
It doesn't end up being the thing that provides the resolution that they were trying to seek.
Right.
Which almost kind of makes you feel like they used it irresponsibly.
Absolutely,
like
they
just
did.
Wanted brutality for brutality's sake,
mm-hmm.
and you know, it's almost like it's kind of taking advantage of women in a way to just be like, okay, we're just going to throw this really gruesome rape scene in here,
right?
But then we're not going to actually. It's not going to actually serve any true purpose.
Exactly. No.
Yeah, and if they would have toned down the characters,
yes.
That's also just like
yes,
you know, they could be doing that without being caricatures.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
but because it could have been good.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good meat there.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like there were a lot of bits that just didn't get,
exactly.
really realized.
Yeah. And I think, too, if they had been able to really do it successfully and make it impactful, it would have been pretty ahead of its time.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
So it's a bummer, but, maybe they'll do a reboot. Yeah. It is funny because when I was looking for clips to share on the social media, which I usually try to do when we do movies, there aren't many out there. That one was really the only one I could find that isn't the one of Anne Hathaway singing the song, where I'm not going to share that because she says the N-word. Yeah. But yeah, there was really only that one. Just like they tried to like erase it from the zeitgeist.
Anne Hathaway was like, we're burying it.
Yes. Goodbye.
That's hilarious.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, maybe Anne Hathaway will direct the
reboot. Yeah.
Yeah, when we were doing that research, I came across something kind of interesting too. We were doing research for Havoc and watching it that I thought was cool and I wanted to talk about a little bit. She came out recently I guess it wasn't super
Anne
recent.
Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway came out recently in an interview talking about an experience she had in a previous movie where she was directed by a woman, and she was asked a question about it, and she kind of came out forthright about like her regret over failing to trust the female director. And I'm just going to read this quote. She said, "The movie was One Day. It was filmed in 2011. And she said, I really regret not trusting her more easily. And to this day, I'm scared that the reason I didn't trust her in the way I trust some other directors is because she's a woman. I'm so scared that I treated her with internalized misogyny, and I'm scared I didn't give her everything she needed because I was resisting her on some level." She suggested internalized misogyny may have affected her choices of roles. When I get a script, this is her speaking again, when I get a script, if I see it's a first film directed by a woman, I have in the past focused on what was wrong with it. And when I see it's directed by a man, I focused on what's right with it. I had actively tried to work with female directors, and I still had this mindset buried in there somewhere. I don't know. I just thought that was very astute of her and honest to come out and say, because I feel like we all struggle with internalized misogyny, racism, all those things. I just thought that was really brave of her to say that, and especially publicly on the record, because I'm sure, so many female actors and male actors, so many actors in general, I'm sure behave this way.
Yeah. And don't even realize it.
Yeah, because it is internalized, and a lot of that time, you're not aware of those behaviors.
No, I agree.
I just thought that was really interesting and cool of her to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can't evolve from something if you can't see it and admit it,
Right.
And yeah, it's hard to do that out loud, but it's important.
Yeah.
More people need to be admitting these things when they clock it within themselves, and we need to be talking about it more.
Yeah, she does. She goes on to say, I'm getting red talking about this. It feels like a confession, but I think it's something we should talk about. I can only acknowledge that I've done that, and I don't want to do that anymore. And maybe talking about it can make someone else think about whether or not they do it.
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. So, yes, we need more of that.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Anne Hathaway. And yeah, you should start directing movies and
for sure,
breaking down those barriers. So maybe Havoc 2 will be Havoc Uprising will be
Havoc reboot.
So I feel like there's been a lot happening with the case.
Yes. So we have a Justin and Blake circle back. Okay. So we talked about how the judge dismissed like the majority of her claims, except for the one that really mattered, which was the retaliation claim, which made sense. Like, why muddy the waters with all of these other things when the important one is this retaliation? So they reached a settlement, no money exchanged hands, just like a week or two ahead of the trial date. Now, of course, both sides were coming out claiming victory. Naturally. My guess would be that neither one of them wanted to pay their attorneys anymore.
Oh, yeah.
For the trial, right? However, they settled essentially with the condition that she can still file a motion seeking attorney's fees and damages from Justin's dismissed countersuit. Okay? Now, they argue she's owed fees and damages under California law that is intended to protect accusers from retaliatory claims. When his countersuit was dismissed, the judge did not rule on whether or not that 2023 California law actually applies to this. His team, Justin Baldoni's team, is trying to argue that California law has no jurisdiction over the case because the movie was filmed in New Jersey. All of these things happened in New Jersey. Now, when she filed her original complaint, it was out of California, okay? This is where things get muddy because the laws are different in different states. The fact that it was filmed in New Jersey doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the retaliation actually took place.
Right.
Okay? So things are just getting really muddied, and I think that's probably part of the reason, too. He definitely didn't want to go forth with the trial. And this is just my opinion. I think he definitely didn't want to move forward with the trial. I think there was a lot of evidence, if you read through those documents, that something was going on with the smear campaign. But I also think she was probably like, it's expensive. And who knows, like, how long it would go on for.
And it's not great for her reputation and image.
No, it's not. It's already ruined. People hate her, you know.
But, like, just dragging it on and forcing people to listen to it for longer, I think
exactly.
do good things
No,
for her.
I don't think so either. I think she probably reached a point where she wants this to be over, be out of the headlines so that she can work on repairing her image and like getting her career back. She doesn't want to pay her attorneys anymore. So it makes sense to me that they both were like, yes, let's reach some kind of settlement. Now, obviously, Justin's team was not willing to have a financial settlement. However, I don't really understand that part that much of it because she's still able to file this motion or whatever to seek these fees. The judge has not ruled on that yet. So we are waiting to see. So she could still end up getting a financial settlement out of Baldoni and Wayfarer. It just depends on whether or not the judge is going to rule that, yeah, that law applies or it doesn't because it was filmed in New Jersey. I mean, I don't know. So that's what's up with that. My takeaway from all of this is, you know, it really does come down to the court of public opinion with these kind of things and whether or not you think it happened. The thing that I find very unfortunate, which we've talked about before, is I just don't think that she had any reason to like make that stuff up. I definitely think there was some retaliation when she brought these things to light. I think the way that he handled it, I'm sorry, but if you're an ally to women and that's like your whole shtick, and then you immediately go on the defensive the second anyone is like, hey, you know, I was kind of uncomfortable in this situation. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but I just think it's bullshit. I don't think a woman should ever be made to feel uncomfortable or be harassed on the set of a movie, however small you might think that is. You know, however small the harassment or whatever you're saying to make someone uncomfortable, I feel like all of the hate she got, so much of it was so clearly internalized misogyny from women and then just misogyny in general from men. And now people are going to look at this and go, oh, well, Blake Lively couldn't get it done, so what am I going to do? And men are going to look at this and go, well, I can probably get away with it. Yeah. And the needle has not moved.
Yeah, and they'll also say, you don't have any right to complain. It also emboldens people to be like, yeah, look, she was proven wrong, so quit complaining about things. When in actuality, we should have, her account should have been taken seriously.
Absolutely.
Especially, like you said, good point, if you're a quote-unquote ally. But yeah, the first mention of somebody being like, hey, man, I didn't like the way you treated me. Like, oh.
Yeah.
You're a liar? Like,
yes. I've seen so many people who were on Blake's side and now are pissed because she's not taking it to trial, and they're like, I thought you were doing this for, and it's like,
again, a woman can do nothing right ever.
Nothing right. Yes, she was trying to fight. She doesn't owe you a trial though for it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm sure it's bleeding resources. She's already been dragged through the mud. She's done. And I get that, and I respect that. And yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't win, you can't do anything right. And
also, you have to consider too that like she's not making this decision by herself.
No,
she's probably been she's with a legal counsel who's probably encouraging her to make a decision based on what they think is going to work out.
Yeah,
you know, maybe she was like, yes, I will take this to the end.
Yeah,
and
who knows?
The legal counsel was like, it's not going to be in your best benefit to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like so many assumptions being made about
right,
and putting that all on her.
Exactly.
Really unfair.
Exactly. You know? And that's one of the things that really sucks about our legal system. And we talked about this before when we talked about if it does go to trial, we're not going to find out the truth. You're never going to know the truth. Yeah. No one is going to know the truth of what happened on that set except for the people that were there. And it wasn't going to come out in the trial anyway. It was just going to be, who can we discredit? Yeah. Who can we make look bad? And she already looks bad. And so, yeah, it's very likely her legal counsel was like, yeah, okay, we have this evidence, we have this, but like everyone hates you. Yeah. The jury's going to hate you.
Yeah, let's weigh your options here.
Yeah, the whole thing is very disappointing to me. And I think just the way that he handled it, quite frankly, is almost kind of what has turned it into this whole huge thing. Yeah. And she's also being blamed for that.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And it's just, and I'm sorry, but old girl who said whatever she said, Jenny Slate, that was all I needed to hear.
Yeah, I know. I love Jenny Slate, and when she came in with that, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I believe.
Sorry, but
I didn't really have an opinion about either of them before this whole trial, Blake Lively or this dude. But I definitely, I don't know. I did with Jenny Slate. I was like, I take her word to heart, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty.
It was pretty damning.
Like you said before when we were talking about this, like it's really unfortunate because, you know, I think so often celebrity cases get kind of poo-pooed or not taken seriously because it's like, oh, it's just all
poor rich girl too.
Yeah,
like
yeah. But this could have had serious repercussions for workplace environments.
It could have set a precedent because this is a new law too.
Yeah,
it's just 2023 is when it was created, and you know,
this really could have made an impact.
Yes, and it's been totally botched.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I suppose if the judge rules in favor of Blake's motion, I think it's a motion, but if he rules in her favor and says, yes, that law applies and you are entitled to damages and attorney's fees, that will technically be a win and will set a precedent. But it is unfortunate everything that's led up to this. Yeah. And if he decides that it doesn't apply because it took place in New Jersey, well, then I guess that's what happens, but that has nothing to do with the fact that retaliation took place. So it's a bummer.
Well, thanks for the update and for keeping us
of course
updated along the way.
Yeah, I'll wait for that ruling. And
it felt a little anticlimactic. Where did you feel?
I really thought it was going to go to trial just because we made it this far and they had that settlement hearing and didn't reach anything. I hope the judge rules in favor of her. And so that at least there can be a precedent set for that law.
For sure.
Because that's the most important part. That is why women do not come forward.
Yeah.
A, they're not believed, and B, they are retaliated against when they do. So this is such an important law and an important thing to carry forward into the future. Let's not botch it now, but I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
I mean, there's no precedent for not botching these types of cases.
No, I know.
So we'll hold on to a little bit of hope, but
yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he won't take forever to rule on it, but who knows?
And hopefully that guy just gets lost. Baldoni.
Yeah, we'll see.
Please do us a favor and never make a movie ever again.
Yeah, just get out of here. Oh, Lord. Speaking of movies, did you see A24 is making a Anthony Bourdain biopic?
Oh my God. I was watching the trailer and I was like, watching it like as it was going on, and I was like, oh my God, this looks good. Who is this about? And then I was like, there's only one person it could be. And then when it flashed up, Tony. I was like, yes. And Stavros is in it. Stavros Halkian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch the trailer, just read about it, but yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
There's also a movie in the theaters right now called Obsession, which is a horror movie that people are raving about. And it's by a filmmaker and director. His name is Curry Barker. And he's kind of another, we talked about the Backrooms, and I talked about Kane Parsons that had that YouTube series that their A24 has now made into a movie that's also, I think, in theaters right now. This is kind of a similar situation. He had a found footage film on YouTube called Milk and Cereal, which is really good. If you're a horror fan and you're into found footage at all, it's a really good one. And so, yeah, now he's got this big major motion picture in the theaters that's killing it. And
that's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what more is going to come from him. So, yeah, so Kane Parsons, Curry Barker, check them out. They're doing cool stuff. The other thing I'm finally watching is Euphoria. And I just feel like in 6 months, it's going to be a fever dream. It's so crazy. I saw somebody tweeted something that just said, what is wrong with Sam Levinson? It's like, yeah, no, really. And then people were coming out saying, I think he's just like living out his weird dark fantasies like through this show.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I didn't finish season 2. It gave me anxiety. Watching people do drugs gives me like real palpable anxiety.
Yeah.
And it was good. Like season 1 was great and I really enjoyed it. And maybe I'll start it back up now that the last season's out. But
I mean, it's definitely entertaining. It's good.
Yeah,
it's entertaining, but it is unhinged for sure. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, I have one quick behavioral disease, and then should we get into our reality check?
Yes.
Okay.
God, I love behavioral diseases.
Okay, so this is kind of an embarrassing one. So
better.
I do this thing where I ask Alexa a question, and then I don't listen. Like when she tells me the answer.
It's the only person who asks questions.
And then I'm too embarrassed to ask her again. So I go look it up on my phone. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm like,
so you ask the question, she answers you immediately, and you already check out? Like,
yes.
You ask somebody their name?
Yes. And then I cannot bring myself to ask her again. I'm like embarrassed to ask her again.
That's hilarious. You know what you should do is you should like blame it on her and be like, Alexa,
I didn't hear you.
I asked you a question.
Oh my God.
That's a really funny one.
I'm like, what mental illness is that? Like,
well, it's like when I ask questions, like when I type it out, I still say please, or I'll be like, oh, sorry.
I know.
I'm like, I just apologize to ChatGPT.
Right.
God, how pathetic. That is funny though, because you like don't ask anybody questions, but you ask Alexa questions and then don't listen to the answer.
I did it the other day at the gym. Katie, if you're listening, Katie was like, so what do you have planned this weekend? I was like, oh, not much. And then I just
that's it.
Didn't ask her.
I don't care about your weekend.
Oh my God. I don't know what my problem is. I can't remember.
Well, you're probably focused on your engaging your core.
I mean, I was like in the middle of a pull-up, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, we have a lot to get into.
We have a lot to get into for reality check, so let's just
rip it.
Okay, so I am doing the thing that I don't like when people do.
Okay.
And most of the time, I think it's because they're just full of crap and they just want to like jump on the bandwagon. But I am going to sit here and brag a little bit about how I clocked Danny Bucco from day one. And I mean, it's not even really a flex because like he came out of the gate like a messy drunk harassing women. So like what other opinion could you really have? But like,
I mean, it's really skyrocketed to
it is
astronomical level.
So bad.
That last episode was almost unwatchable. And I've had problems with Lala in the past, but I was like, get it, Lala.
Oh, like, yes.
Go after him.
I know. We're a couple episodes behind, so we're going to talk about the last 2 episodes. Okay, so let's start with when they first get to San Diego. Yeah. And Nia says, can you put Adelaide down for me? And he goes, what do you mean put Adelaide down for you? First of all, just the way he said it and his tone.
And his face is always like his facial expression is like so over the top and like
I know.
angry. He's like, bro, don't make me slap that face off.
I know.
Your head.
And then it's also a little bit of weaponizing incompetence. Like, what do you mean? What do I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Put her down for a fucking nap.
What else
Could it mean? God. And Nia goes, she's tired and needs to sleep. And then that's when he goes in, and then he comes out yelling about the swaddle.
Oh, yeah, just like...
And
yeah,
it's like, her eyes keep popping open. I'm trying to put her down, her eyes keep popping open.
He looks so ridiculous and just incompetent and dumb and just like... And she's just eating a sandwich.
And then he goes, oh, really?
Yeah.
For your wife who's breastfeeding your child is nourishing her body with a sandwich, and you can't handle it.
I mean, good for Nia. She did come back with, you're mad at me for eating a sandwich, in a very calm, reasonable tone. The way she can stay calm when he is being an absolute weirdo and kind of manipulative and like trying to turn the tables on her. On one hand, I'm like, wow, kudos to you for being able to stay so calm. On the other hand, I'm like, you need to give it to him.
Yeah.
Like, you're being way too mature.
She's covering for
I know,
him.
that's the thing, is she is.
Yeah.
She's trying to act like everything's
She's
fine,
complicit
no
in
big
it,
deal.
unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is not healthy for you.
No. He is a misogynist. I'm sorry.
Oh, 100.
So then, when they go to the boardwalk thing, you know, and the babysitter has the baby, and she's like trying to connect with him about doing the rides, and he says nothing. And then he makes a comment about her boobs.
Yeah.
Okay?
He sucks.
When she says, do you remember the OG me? And he says, I can't wait for an OG night. So he's completely ignoring her attempts to like connect with him as a partner, as her husband, and is just making comments about her boobs and them having sex that night. He does not see her as a person. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He's a misogynist.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, he's a misogynist. I think she also likes to have a traditional kind of relationship. I think she encourages that a little bit.
I think she does, too.
I think she likes being the wife who stays home and has the husband who's in control. I think maybe she just got swept up and now it's just like, oh, this is the life I have.
I definitely don't think she wants to be treated the way he's treating her, though.
No. Yeah.
I think she's definitely used to it.
Yeah.
And I think she's definitely covering for him. And I think she's internalized some of this stuff as well, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying that she deserves the way he's treating her or that, like, she is asking for that in any way. I'm not trying to, like, put it on her. Like,
right.
Oh, it's her fault. But I'm saying,
no.
like, they do.
No, I know.
They both, I think, like this traditional lifestyle they've built, which unfortunately comes with a lot of misogyny.
That's part of
You know,
the
I think
problem
that's
with
where
this
it
whole
comes-
thing.
Yeah. And I think that's where the covering comes in, because I think that's probably developed over their entire relationship.
Absolutely.
And she's probably made sacrifices and forgiven his bad behavior since the beginning of their relationship.
Of course she
'Cause
has.
I'm sure he's been this way the entire time.
Absolutely he has.
He's been a gross jerk forever.
And sometimes I think, too, those qualities will sometimes rear their ugly heads more so after having children, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the problems with this whole, like, it's okay to have traditional values and want to live a quote-unquote traditional lifestyle. I live a quote-unquote traditional lifestyle.
Yeah.
I would never accept that kind of behavior from my husband. He would never act that way. But I think that's part of the problem. Unfortunately, those two things kind of go hand in hand, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
You should be able to have traditional roles within a marriage and a family without having the underlying misogyny. And
And I also feel like that's just been, we've accepted this behavior from men forever.
Exactly.
It's always just kind of like, well, that's how men are.
Yeah.
That's how men act.
Yeah.
And they get away with it, and then you accept that as part of a man's personality. And then you get into a situation where you have children where it's like, I really need to depend on you to show up.
Right.
And you're continuing to be an asshole and making this now my life is unmanageable.
Yes.
And like their life seems kind of unmanageable sometimes.
He definitely
And
seems unmanageable, and she's doing everything in her power to manage him.
Oh, God.
And also, I think, something that comes with a quote unquote more traditional lifestyle, which it is interesting that they chose to be on this show, is that sort of everything's perfect on the surface. Like, we have to portray this perfect, persona and this perfect life. And
I'm never going to yell, never going to raise my voice.
Exactly. And they still want to try to keep their conflicts behind closed doors. And she's talked about this in an interview. I can't remember. And she talked about how they had a conversation like before filming, like, we're going to be on each other's side and, support each other. And we're not going to be, airing all of our dirty laundry. Well, that facade has fallen.
Yeah. And then he had tossed a few back, and it's just like the real Danny comes out.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm glad for it, because I hope it pushes them to a point where it's like, yeah, you're going to have to just deal with this in front of people, because
he needs to get sober and he needs to go to therapy and do some serious work on himself.
Yeah.
The way that he is treating his wife and talking to her, coupled with the fact that he gets drunk and treats other women like that, that is a serious, serious problem. I'm sorry, but it is. He's extremely problematic. I think it's insane that, like, this keeps happening with these people go on TV, and it's like you see this behavior and it's like,
yeah, and the excuse or the
so crazy. Like, where are these people coming
from? I know, and it just gets excused over and over again, or it's just like, at what point are you just like, bro, you can't drink when you hang out with us?
100%.
It's not good.
No, and that's what I had written here. When he's talking to her, in the next episode, when Lala comes in and he's, in the whatever get up, and she's like putting the makeup on him and stuff, and he's talking to her like that. And like we just talked about, I don't think he's a good guy regardless. But this particular scene was so obviously fueled by alcohol too.
Oh yeah.
And it's
he's
just
slurring
like
his words.
Yes. He's not really making sense. Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And he's just taking something that could have been really fun and playful
and ruining it.
And ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah, he sucks.
He's just being a total bully. I'm so curious, like, what their arguments at home are like when nobody's around. Like, I
want to know what they're saying to each other as they're watching this back.
I know.
Is she just like, our life's destroyed?
Well, and I was surprised, too, when she actually did say in her confessional, because I thought for sure she was just going to be like, listen, he just needed a break. We're hard.
Not on the same page.
But I was glad that she at the very least said, I'm glad, talking about Lala's reaction. Like, I'm glad at least somebody else saw it and could corroborate that, like, I'm not crazy, right? You're not. Insane. And just like, no, like, how often are you doing that? Like, the mental toll that must take to just be like, he's acting insane, but he's gaslighting me, making me feel like I'm the one being unreasonable. Like,
yeah. Remember when I said, like, season 1 or whatever, I was like, his behavior feels so performative.
Yeah, and
it is.
And then, but he used that term on her where she was trying to be cute, and he was like, feels performative. I just want to be like, are you kidding me?
He's performing all the time.
Your wife's having fun at an amusement park. She's trying to flirt with you. You finally don't have your kids, which you've been begging for this whole time.
Right.
And you're being a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
You could see his demeanor change. He's kind of being dismissive of her and like made the comment about her boobs or whatever. And then as soon as the friends come around, he's all like,
the drunk guyness too. When Lala was like, "Oh, somebody's being loud and obnoxious," and it's Danny.
Yes.
Just like the clips of him just at dinner, just like, oh God, you're still doing this at 45.
I know.
It's embarrassing.
I know. Okay, so.
Should we get into Summer House?
No, you want the tea on his dad?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not moving on yet. Okay, so this is Lauren's K on TikTok. Spilled the tea on this. I don't know if she was the first one. It's just who I saw it from. Okay, so Danny's dad, Paul Bucco, is a pastor at a church. I think he might have inherited this pastorship, I don't know what you call it, from maybe his father. Because they've been involved with this church for a long time, it seems like. Any hoodly doodly. A woman has come forward alleging abuse within the church. Her last name is Shank. Shank said she was 15 years old when the man, a 44-year-old, began abusing her in the fall of 2011. Both were volunteer group leaders in the church's youth ministry, she said. Shank alleged the man, nearly 3 times her age, sexually groomed her under the guise of mentorship for over a year, according to police reports and personal protection orders obtained by News Channel 3. She says, I didn't have a father in my life, and that just made it worse. He said he was going to be my spiritual father. She said she didn't realize it was grooming until years later. She reported what happened to authorities and told church leadership in 2012. So church leadership is Paul, right? Okay, so she told church leadership.
So Paul is the leadership, not the groomer.
He's not the groomer. Okay.
Let me guess. He didn't believe her and ignored it.
Pretty much. Okay, so she tells church leadership in 2012. Church leaders told the man to leave her alone, but he continued to abuse her. So this word gets out, okay? So people are outside protesting outside the church, accusing Paul Bucco of trying to cover it up, okay? The man accused of the abuse was then removed from volunteering in the youth ministry, but was allowed to remain in service to the church, doing like their live streaming. They like live stream their services, right? He's been there every Sunday for the last 10 years around the entire congregation and their children. Nothing was ever done about it. At first, the church claimed they didn't know anything about it at the time, because this was back in 2011, 2012. And it's, of course, just now like coming to light. But then Paul Bucco released a statement saying he hopes she can forgive them for not doing more and acknowledge that the church had known.
Oh.
So then after she reported it to church leadership in 2012 and he was, quote unquote, removed from volunteering in the youth ministry, but was still able to do the other thing, he continued to harass her, send her text messages saying she was beautiful. She had to see him in the halls of the church for 5 years after this, until she was 20, and then I think finally left the church.
That's torture.
And then apparently Paul Bucco gave a sermon and made some kind of statement during a sermon that said, don't always believe what you hear or see, and come talk to me if you've heard anything. Like, what?
Weird. Not what you're supposed to do.
So this is his father.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's concerning and not super surprising.
Right.
Because that's exactly how that always goes down. Yeah.
Right. It's so crazy to me, too, that these people keep going on these shows with all of these skeletons in their closet. I mean, obviously it's his dad, it's not him, but like, he knew about that.
Yeah, I mean,
and I realize his dad's not the one being accused of the abuse, but like, he's being accused of a cover up.
Yeah. And
like, you have to know at this point that all of this stuff is going to come out.
Yeah, I know, that's a pretty big one. Especially like this day and age. It's like not one people are going to gloss over.
Yeah.
So.
I have one more thing to say before we move on to Summer House, and that's it. It's so funny, too, because I feel like there's so much discourse online about how this season of The Valley is boring. And some people...
How this season of The Valley is boring?
Yeah. And I just wholeheartedly disagree. I think it's such a fresh take, and that's kind of what I think In the City is going to be more like The Valley too. It's just it's a fresh take because it is these young families, and we're seeing real struggles of postpartum and the way that couples navigate that. And also, I really enjoyed the scene on the beach with Michelle and Lala, where Michelle was talking about grieving the loss of her mother, and her and Lala kind of connected over losing parents. I just think it's so relatable. It's so much more relatable than like Summer House or Vanderpump Rules or like.
Well, it's more substantive.
Yeah. I mean, the stakes are definitely higher, which makes it a little more anxiety ridden. But
no, I think this season's been really interesting to
watch. I think so too.
I think the postpartum story has been really great.
Yeah.
You probably saw that clip of a therapist saying that, like, the way Kristen and the other moms have been sharing their journey with postpartum is like the realest representation that has ever been shown on TV.
It's amazing.
And I think it's really, I think it's true. I think as much as I get annoyed with Luke, like, this is something that I think goes on in couples constantly and we never talk about, you know, like, and they've been incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think it's been one of the best seasons.
Absolutely. So I don't know what people are talking about. I think it's been a good season. So yeah. Okay. Should we move on to somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was how Lindsay went to Carl in the fight.
Yeah. Carl, look at me.
Which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
Jumping forward to this last episode where they talked, they finally had to talk.
Yes.
And I was wondering, I was like, did we go too hard on Lindsay? Did we go in a little too hard on Lindsay for some of her behavior with Carl? Because I don't think I realized that they had never really sat down and talked.
Well, that
past their breakup about like what happened and why.
Well, but I think that's because she went on the defensive so aggressively after everything happened. I don't think Carl thought she wanted to hear from him. I mean,
that was my first reaction. I was like, you would have shut him down so hard.
Yes.
If you,
yes.
Because that would have been asking something of you.
Exactly.
To give time to Carl to talk about
exactly.
it. No. That was my initial reaction too.
I don't think
but
so.
Then I was just like, all right. But
I mean, obviously they both have feelings and both of their feelings about whatever happened are valid. Yeah. You know, her main thing that she was so mad about is that she felt like he ambushed her with that breakup, like on camera, and that he orchestrated it with production. I don't know how much of that is true because she said in that conversation, she's like, why didn't you come to me and say, I'm having second thoughts? And like, you know, why didn't we have a conversation? Which that part, if that truly went down like that, that is a bummer. I think there probably is a lot of like gray area and stuff when you're on a show though. And, you know, Carl has been very adamant about he didn't go into that conversation thinking he was going to call off the wedding.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it just kind of comes down to like who and what you believe. So I can understand that if he's telling the truth about that, yeah, I'm sorry it went down that way. I wasn't expecting it. And then it just happened. And I could also see her being like, you had to know that it was a possibility, that you were thinking about it. Why didn't you come to me off camera and say, hey?
Yeah.
So like,
I think he did in a way. I think they had many conversations of like, things are, Lindsay, like we're fighting all the time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that he ever had a conversation saying he was having second thoughts about the wedding. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, I can understand that, but I think, you know, her saying you never came to me to have a one-on-one conversation afterward. Of course he didn't. Yeah, I mean, you immediately went on the defensive. Yeah. She went on a podcast, completely just trashed him. Yeah. So it's like, that part I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I don't know.
Like maybe you really needed that kind of closure. Well, you should have reached out and been like, hey, can we talk about this? Because I'm feeling a little...
He definitely would have been receptive.
100%.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting how she said, you know, I think I buried a bunch of stuff down after the breakup and like, maybe I do need some closure. You think?
I know.
I mean, yeah.
The exact same thing. I was like, yeah, obviously, because she's been really acting out a little bit.
Well, I also didn't like what she said to him about his mom. Like, I'm sorry. You weren't rattled. You were mean. And then she said, she was like asking me for a bunch of hugs and asking a bunch of questions about Gemma. No, she maybe tried to give you one hug and she said, how's she doing? Yeah. About Gemma. Like, I didn't like that.
What did she say? She said something. She's like, well, that's the problem is that she wasn't.
Carl said she didn't come into that with that intention or realizing that it had rattled you or something. And she's like, yeah, well, that's part of the problem.
I was like, okay, Carl is not his mother. I don't know. These are two separate things. You can't bring your grievances with Carl's mom to Carl. What is he supposed to do?
Exactly.
Say, sorry, my mom was
sorry
for his mother.
Sorry that my mother's my mother and took my side. Exactly. That's the part that I don't know what she expects.
No.
It was weird.
But also Carl should write the book on apologizing because he responded perfectly.
Yeah.
And I really feel bad for that situation because I feel like so much of their relationship ending was probably due to the fact that like Carl was brand new to sobriety.
Yeah.
It was less than a year. And like, there is a reason why they say you shouldn't date for, for 2 years. Cause like he was really in the throes of figuring himself out. Mm-hmm. And there was just, I mean, that relationship was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I don't feel like we went in too hard on her, but I am glad that she asked for that conversation and initiated it, and they had it.
Yeah, it feels like she got what she needed.
Yeah.
Carl seemed happy to give it to her.
Exactly.
It seemed like they left in a good place, and like that's all you could really hope for.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. I was bawling at the end of the episode. I wanted to just hug Kyle Cook.
I know.
I was like, I'm sorry, dude.
So funny
your whole life is going up in flames. Your wife, your business.
It's so funny though, because he's such a sad sack, and he's so immature about so many things, and it's just so funny that like I have so much sympathy for him now.
I know.
Whereas before, if this West thing wasn't a part of the situation,
I know.
you would just be like, beat it, Kyle.
We were in the
And
beginning.
Amanda dump his ass. Like obviously, this is the worst marriage of all time.
I know. And it was.
Yes,
it was.
They would have gotten divorced no matter what.
Absolutely.
But like, it really is great for him because everyone's just like, so Kyle.
I know. No,
And he's been the worst husband of all time.
Everything's coming up, Kyle Cook. Here's the thing, though. I will
people are
say,
buying into his business.
I know. I will say, definitely not husband material. Just like not a good husband. But I think Kyle, at his core, is a good person.
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about the West thing too, and like I don't think West is just like a completely bad person. I just think he is more selfish than anything else. Like, I think West is just going to do whatever he wants to do at any given moment, and he's never going to truly consider the feelings of anybody else. Like, he will always come first. What he wants to do will always come first.
You're like, a shit person?
I guess maybe that's person. Yeah, maybe I'm saying this because I feel like I was duped by him.
Yeah.
Because I really
and you don't want to be duped by him.
He was a good person, and
I did
liked
too.
him a lot.
I did too.
So, like, maybe I have to believe that, like, there's goodness in him somewhere.
Yeah, because you're centering yourself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
no,
I liked him.
No, so did I, but I don't anymore.
I know.
You can change your mind about people when they show you who they really are.
No, for sure. And I have. I think maybe I'm still trying to, like,
reconcile that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
And because I don't want to believe that anybody's a rotten person.
No, I know, but they are. And we'll see what his arc is like if he has one.
And I'm very curious. I'm holding out a little bit to see if I have any sympathy or empathy for either of them based on what happens at the reunion. I definitely feel like he took advantage of her situation a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that she wasn't complicit and not that she isn't at fault for the damage that she did to Sierra on her for her portion, but I also feel like West saw she was in a fragile, weakened state.
Yeah.
You know, she's going through a really hard time with her divorce.
Yeah.
She loves attention, and he just swooped right in and did all the things that she needed.
Oh yeah.
Like, so he's at fault primarily.
And not just selfish, but an opportunist in the worst kind of way.
Yes. Oh, the other thing that stood out to me this last episode was this kind of happened early on where they were like the winter party. And Amanda kissed Jesse Sullivan. Like, and it was like a playful, like, oh, we're partying kiss. It was so funny because Jesse's reaction was like, he was like, what? And because it was so out of nowhere and unnecessary. And it's like this weird, oh, I'm married, so I can flirt as much as I want because it's almost like, well, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I'm married.
Right.
It's not true, girlfriend.
But then when Ben flirts with you, you're going to be like, I'm married.
Yes, exactly. Like,
yeah,
it
what?
doesn't go both ways.
Exactly. No, I know.
Just like, and that's the kind of thing where you lose your sympathy for her.
Really quick,
because it's
and they showed all those.
You're perpetuating it too.
Yes. Like, and they showed all those clips of her and Craig.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like
this is a pattern.
This is a rinse and repeat.
I will say, I do worry for her though, because I feel like she's probably going through it. She can't be well.
No, I'd probably not.
And that makes me sad.
I'm sure she's getting death threats and all kinds of stuff that's just.
Or even in that first episode of In the City, Kyle was like, "You're really thin."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no, I don't want that for anybody."
No, I know.
And then he had this conversation with Ben too, where he was talking about like, oh, that one was really bad. Or I was like, shut up.
Like, that stereotype of like, God forbid I be tied down by a label and a woman. How could I ever be a boyfriend? Like,
it's just like, you know exactly what you're doing, because it just proves that, like, you know how
he
she
sucks.
feels.
Yeah.
You know what she feels. You know what you're doing.
You know exactly what you're
doing.
Yes.
Making out with her.
You pulled her right back in to do the exact same thing you did before, which is get a little bit of kissy face, maybe sleep with her, and then be like, I don't want to be a boyfriend.
No.
He was trying to already set the precedent or set the expectation by having this conversation with Ben on camera so that he could later be like, well, I said.
I know. And he said, the last thing I want to do is break her heart. I was like, if that's
no,
the last
it's
thing you
not.
want to do, then don't do exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know.
No.
It's just like, it's so obvious, and I just feel so bad for her.
No, I know. Okay, we've got to get into Meg Stalter, but I have to say one thing first about In the City, and then we'll save In the City for the next time. But that guy talking about how he had access to the surveillance cameras, I'm like, what are we doing? Where are they finding these men?
I don't know. And
you're going
like,
on on national television admitting you had access to surveillance cameras to watch for hot girls so you could go down to this bar and hit on them. This is why women don't feel safe.
Yeah.
This kind of behavior. I'm sorry, but that is predatory behavior.
Yeah, the fact that they put that in the show is wild. I mean, I would not be okay.
Bitch, what are we doing?
Not a way to kick off the show.
Good God.
Yeah, that was super alarming.
Yes.
And his girlfriend was just like, you can't say that.
Right. She was like, you shouldn't be saying that.
Like, right. You shouldn't be saying it. You shouldn't be doing it.
No, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yikes.
Can you imagine dating a guy and he tells you that?
I mean, I don't
Done.
think I would. Yeah.
Out the door.
Absolutely.
Never again.
No, how could you
never see you again?
No. Yeah, no. That's foul. Okay, well, good reality check. I think we covered a lot. We got to get into our pop culture queen of the month.
That's right, we do.
We have a fun one. We're doing, drumroll please, Meg Stalter. We'll have a good one-handed drum roll.
That's all the mic.
All right, so Meg Stalter, kind of an irreverent, quirky, young comedian who came up on the internet, basically.
Yes, and Hollis is our niche comedy correspondent.
Yes, that's me.
She keeps up with the internet comedians.
I do, and I'm a big comedy fan in general. There are a lot of really great internet comedians, and Meg is part of this group of comedians that really started on the internet and is now really hit mainstream success, which is just really awesome to see, because I think most people know her from Hacks now.
Yeah.
But she started out as an internet comedian, just posting videos and characters. She's kind of known for this weird, irreverent, quirky persona, almost like this bratty starlet, kind of entitled but still lovable character. And she does many characters, but that's kind of the one that she portrays a lot. And you see her on award shows and things, and she's always kind of portraying that kind of character.
It's her Mary Catherine Gallagher.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's a good comparison. She says, I would describe my work as bizarre, perfect, life-changing, and smarter than people that don't get me think. Which I was like, yeah, there's more to it than whatever's on the surface. She also says, in my own life, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but playing someone that's also that way helps you really fall in love with yourself, which I thought was...
That's cool. Yeah.
I really like that.
I've not heard it posed like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably so true.
Yeah, for sure. She's kind of picking all these points out of characters and people and celebrities that we see all the time and making light of them. And she's built this persona that I think she's learned a lot about of herself.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Lena Dunham a little bit.
Yeah.
Although she may have had I hope she had that experience. I hope it helped her to, because I know there was a period of time where she was being torn apart. But yeah, because she kind of plays herself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was born in 1990 in Dayton, Ohio. She's actually older than I thought. I thought she was younger than
Midwest
us,
peeps.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, she's our age? I thought she was younger than us, too.
She's a couple years younger than me. So, yeah, I thought she was a lot younger than us. But, yeah, born in Ohio. Her mom was a nurse.
Her mom was a nurse.
Her mom was a nurse. And her father was... Her mom was a nurse and her father was a tattoo artist, actually.
Interesting.
She had kind of an unusual upbringing. She was raised in the Pentecostal church and took religion pretty seriously. She even did like a 6-month mission trip to Peru. And she's still religious. She calls herself a God girl, but we'll talk more about that later. You know, and she was always kind of bullied in school. I think she had a hard time, but like, you know, was in drama and kind of found her connection that way. She attended community college and Wright State University, but then left to pursue her acting career. She kind of moved around Ohio as an adolescent and then moved to Chicago where she got into sketch comedy and improv and started doing comedy full time. So in Chicago, she's doing comedy, she's taking improv classes, and she starts posting videos online in 2018. And she hits one that goes viral, the Hi Gay video. Do you remember this video?
Mm-mm.
It's really fun.
I was not really online then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't really get into, like, social media until, like, 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, so she starts this video where she's, like, it's kind of poking fun at businesses during Pride Month. So she's, like, posing as this, like, kind of country store owner. And she starts the video with, "Hi, gay." And then it's like just talking about like all the stuff they're doing for Gay Pride Month.
Right.
It's hilarious. And "hi gay" becomes like a phrase, and
okay,
you know, that kind of sets her off. But yeah, she's posting videos all the time. She kind of turns these videos into the Meg Stalter Show, which is a web series.
Okay,
where she like does fake interviews, and she's kind of being that Meg Stalter persona. Pretty funny stuff. A ton of episodes. I think she still does them from time to time. So 2019, she moves to New York. She gets a manager. You know, she's doing stand-up. It's kind of stand-up. It's also kind of like, just like performance a little bit. Because it's not like typical just joke punchline. Like she's kind of in a character. She's talking to the crowd a lot. It's very unique kind of alt comedy. And she really finds like her little niche as an alt comedian. In 2019, New York Magazine names her one of the comedians you should and will know in 2019. And in 2020, the New York Times critic Jason Zinnemann declared her sketch comedy's newest star, writing that in the constantly shifting ecosystem of young performers on Twitter and Instagram, the most vital voice to emerge during this anxious, isolating moment is that of Meg Stalter. Pretty high praise from a critic for like an alt comic. So yeah, right around that time, the early 2020s, it's kind of a big deal for her.
Yeah.
She starts hosting this podcast called Confronting Demons. You know, she's getting more and more work, so she does some voiceover work. And in 2023, she gets her first starring role in this movie called Cora Bora. It's a queer rom-com where she plays Cora, who goes home to win her girlfriend back. It's also noted here, good place to mention, that she does identify as bisexual, but mostly gay is how she described herself. And she's, you know, she's also a religious person. So, you know, it's kind of a unique juxtaposition there.
Of course, yeah.
And she is out with both of those things and always has been. So
you don't see it a lot, so.
No.
Yeah.
And during some of the conversation of that movie coming out, she said, "I would have loved to see a movie like this when I was younger. You don't often see the lead of a movie as bisexual, not super skinny, and also in a bad mood all the time. It wasn't just exciting because I was the lead. It was exciting because it's so special. Someone may see it and be like, oh, that is possible. You know, if you see it, you can be it."
Yeah.
So I have not seen Cora Bora.
No.
I need to watch it. I'm kind of surprised I haven't. God. Such an idiot.
Hollis, do your research.
So 2023, she's in another movie. And then also in 2023, that's when she gets the role of Kayla on Hacks. So,
which was when I was first introduced to her.
Yeah, which I think for most people that's the case. Yeah. Wherein Kayla is definitely, you know, a unique character, but she certainly pulls from her Meg Stalter persona a lot in that role. Yeah. And I mean, people just fell in love with her because she's
I remember
hilarious.
At one point being like, her and the manager guy are carrying the show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their dynamic and just their scenes, I was like,
Hilarious.
you know, man, these two are really carrying it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of demand for them to have a spin-off series. So fingers crossed for that. Okay, so she's playing Kayla on Hacks. Everybody loves her. She's kind of like her breakout moment. And then in 2025, Lena Dunham slides into her DMs and is like, hey, I'm working on a project and I really want you to be involved. I guess she reached out to her while she was still writing the show too much on Netflix and really kind of wrote the role for her.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean is huge.
And I mean, they are similar in a way.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They do have a quirkiness that is like, for sure. So, you know, she had been in a starring movie, but this is a pretty big starring role for her.
Yeah.
And it did, just like in Hacks, it does have some of that Meg Stalter comedy angle to it, but it's a real hearty role.
Yes.
You know, it's not just a comedy role.
No.
It's, there's a lot to the story. And
yes.
she really has some chops.
Yeah.
Too.
There's a lot more depth to that character than there is Kayla's character in Hacks.
Yes. Yeah, it's a really thoughtfully developed character and story. I just thought this was funny and stood out to me. It was just like a perfect Meg Stalter thing to say. But while they were promoting the show too much, Dunham said during an interview, they were asked how it felt to be body shamed online. And Lena started to give like kind of a sincere answer back. And I guess Megan cut her off and said, if you want to leave a comment on my Instagram that says I'm fat, let's face it, you're in love with me and you want to have sex with me. I was just like, yep.
Yeah. Yes.
That's true.
That's
for
true.
One, and also hilarious to say. Yeah. So in 2026, so we're up to current time now. 2026, she's scheduled to release her first music album, and she just dropped her first single called Prettiest Girl in the World. It's on Spotify. You can listen to it.
Nice.
It's actually pretty good. It's like kind of, the lyrics are definitely like, if any other music artist saying those lyrics, she'd be like, this is very clown. But it's like
because it's her.
Yeah, but it's like funny, but the music production's really good. It's
okay.
Like, it's like kind of a jam. I was
like,
oh wow, this is like a legit song. This isn't like a comedy song.
Right.
You know? It was cool. And then the reason I picked Meg Stalter was because we try to make these kind of relevant.
People who are trending
to
an extent, yeah.
Is that she is going to be making her Broadway debut this July as Mary Todd Lincoln in Oh Mary, which, oh God, I would die to see. I really want to see the show. It sounds so funny. It's written by Cole Escola, which I feel like he kind of is from that camp that I was talking about, of these groups of like kind of alt comedians who come up on the internet and are really now having their comeuppance, which
right.
I think is awesome, because I feel like we all know social media and the internet is just a dumpster most of the time. But I feel like the one positive is that like queer people, trans people who aren't look the same as everyone else,
right.
different body sizes, people who wouldn't normally have a foot in the door, have a platform to get their content out.
Absolutely.
And have a way to transition into mainstream
Absolutely.
success.
We talked about this with the horror stuff, and look at what these guys are doing now. I mean, absolutely. That is definitely the good part about the internet, is it creates opportunity for people who maybe wouldn't have opportunity otherwise. And it also allows you to see there are other people struggling with some of the things that you're struggling with. Yeah. When you think you might be the only one. Yeah. Those are the two positives of the internet. Everything else is trash. But
yeah. And just really uniquely creative voices that I don't think we would otherwise give a chance or hear.
Right.
Really have an opportunity, like you said, to
absolutely
get their work out, which I think is great. And
yeah.
she's definitely one of them. So just really quickly, she's a self-described God girl who is bisexual, and has really reconciled with her queer identity publicly in a really nice way. I feel like she's never been ashamed of it. She talks about it. If she's asked about it, she'll speak openly about it. And obviously she makes choices and creates things that speak to those stories.
Does she talk about it all like in terms of her family? like, are they still very involved in the Pentecostal church? I would think so.
Yeah.
And like, do they support her? Like, what is that relationship like?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know a ton about her family. There wasn't a lot of detail in interviews with her on that. I did read that, you know, she went to church with her grandmother. You know, I think she is still in contact with her family. She comes from a very big family. She mentioned that. You know, lots of cousins, lots of aunts and uncles. So I think a lot of that is where that comes from, is like she always had a very positive experience, you know, in the church and with her family. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of detail.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what that's been like for her.
Well, I mean, it is unique that she has that take, because she does mention, you know, I don't think she was out as a young person. Like, I don't think, you know, she came to the realization that she was bisexual or gay till she was a little bit older.
Right.
Because she is quoted to say, maybe if I had seen like stories like this, I would have known sooner that I was, you know, gay myself. We were so starved of queer stories. And I think now that we have so much more than we had before, I would have maybe been able to come to that realization sooner. Choosing to do comedy, she also says, made me feel even closer to God, because I felt that's what I was meant to do. And then I realized I was a queer person, and I just felt more in love with myself and more accepting, which, I don't think that's often
the case.
Right. So, you know, I think that's incredible for her. The last point I wanted to make about her, which I really just, doing this research, I really just grew to like her and respect her so much more, because I think so often people see her comedy are just like, oh, she's just like this silly character. It doesn't make sense. You know, I don't think people really get what she's like. She mentioned in that first quote that I opened with, that like there's more to it than people who don't get it think.
Right.
You know, I think people write her off for just being weird and like, oh, I don't like her comedy, but she's truly seems like a real stand-up person, because in January, when a lot of this ICE stuff was happening, and when TikTok was appearing to censor videos talking about ICE, she deleted her account, which is where all of her content lived and was stored. Now, maybe she had backups, of course, to record on something, but I think that's kind of a big statement for, you know, someone who
came up on the internet
and who still uses it as a tool to, you know,
promote herself
and get her art out there.
Absolutely.
She deleted her account, and I don't know if she's back on or anything, but and then she posted a video on Instagram after the killing of Alex Peretti, Renee Good, and Keith Porter Jr., saying, if you're someone who identifies as a Christian but supports ICE or the president, I want you to remember that Jesus was executed for challenging the system. His life and his teachings directly threatened the religious, economic, and political power structures of his time, and he was murdered. If you are a follower of Christ, I strongly urge you to follow what the Bible actually says. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am Lord your God. We have to abolish ICE. I truly, truly believe that is exactly what Jesus would do. I mean,
dude, I know.
That's what you hope all religious people
I know. And that's what it could be.
Yeah.
I grew up religious. I went to parochial school. We went to church every Sunday. And I have really evolved in how I feel and what I think about it. But I still have a personal relationship with God. But I have, and people can say what they want about this, I have cherry picked the things from religion, from the Bible, that I think make the most sense to me. Yeah. And I have created my own spirituality from that. I do believe in God, but I do think there's so many things in the Bible that I don't agree with. Obviously, there's probably some criticism. We can't just cherry pick the good stuff. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because the good stuff is there. Yeah. And that's just how I feel about it.
Hey. I mean, I don't disagree with you.
So,
and then shortly after posting that video, she said she was feeling overwhelmed with all of this ICE happenings, with the Epstein stuff. And she went a step further. She didn't just, I thought this was very impressive. She didn't just post a video saying like, hey,
like us.
You know, she didn't just record a podcast and then went on with her life. She was like, yeah, I'm feeling overwhelmed. She organized a prayer group. And she sent out an open invitation to respondents on her videos, and she booked a location and had an actual prayer group with real people that showed up, and they talked about, and they prayed together and talked about what was going on and like helped each other. And
yeah,
I mean, I was just like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Brave, a little scary.
Yeah. You don't know who's going to show up to that one.
But apparently it was a really positive
Apparently
thing.
it went well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you know, she's also noted that she's going to start making creative work more based in faith too, and kind of lean into that aspect of her life and personality.
Yeah.
She's going to be producing a show called Church Girls, which I think
will be really funny. Yeah, absolutely.
And hilarious. And also I'm sure it will be thoughtful and meaningful too. So yeah. And
it's also, and like, I don't mean this as a criticism. It's also smart because you have a huge built-in audience. If you can get the Christians on board with you.
Oh yeah.
That's lucrative.
I mean,
and I don't mean that as a criticism in saying that it's like, you know, fake, or it's just smart business wise too.
Trump became president on it. So,
so yeah, I mean,
yeah. And I guess
it's faith plus one.
Yeah.
Cartman. Did you know we replace all the babies with Jesus? 1 million listeners, whatever it is, 100 million listeners. So,
yeah, and you know, it's true and authentic to herself too.
Yes,
you know, which I think will make it good content.
Absolutely.
I don't want to use the word content because content feels so soulless.
No,
but like it'll be good art. Yes,
it'll be good art. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to end on was, you know, she had noted in this interview that I was reading that she had heard this advice from Tina Fey about celebrities, but especially comedians, that like, hey, you know, you got to keep your religious beliefs or, you know, a lot of your personal beliefs to yourself because it can be co-opted, and like, you know, you have to be careful about what you share.
Right.
And how she kind of leans away from that. And she said, authenticity can be expensive, but I think it's worth it. Like,
absolutely.
You know, she likes to share how she's feeling and who she is, and that it makes the work better. And I think that's true.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for Meg Stalter. She's just getting started, and she seems to be a really good person and hilarious. So
we love to see it.
Pop Culture Queen of the Month.
That's right. We love to see it.
All right. Well, we have to grape and gripe.
Yeah. Should we move into grapes and gripes?
Yes.
Okay. My gripe is going out to the phone companies.
The phone companies?
The phone companies.
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
It is the only company, bill, utility, whatever you want to call it, that they will not connect your automatic payment to a credit card. They will, but then they charge you more.
Yeah.
So if you want the discount, you have to set it up automatic, and it can only come out of a bank account. And I just want to be like, what a bunch of losers. Everyone already hates you guys. Yeah. You can't do us this one solid and let us get the credit card points.
I know.
It doesn't even make any sense, because wouldn't you be more guaranteed to get your payment if it was hooked up to a credit card anyway? Like, it won't decline for the most part. And it's just like, can you even imagine working in customer service at the phone company?
Oh my God. No.
I mean,
no.
You can talk to
outrageous.
17 different people, and nobody can tell you why your bill was $37 more this month. And I feel like it's never the exact same either. Like, you look at it and it always fluctuates by like a couple of dollars and cents, and they can never, it's always like, oh, well, it's the fee structure and surcharges. I'm sorry. Surcharge is a made up word. What even is a surcharge?
I don't know. How is it not just, that's another thing. I feel the same way. My bill is always different.
It's always different.
The bill is impossible
to understand.
Yeah. I'm just like, well, whatever, I guess. if I'm losing a few bucks, because I'm just not taking the time to figure it out.
No, absolutely not.
And I just want to be like, just make it a flat rate.
And Derek at Verizon can't explain it to you anyway.
No, I know.
It's like, yeah.
And it's just like, I have unlimited texts and data. What could possibly be fluctuating?
Exactly. No, I know. It's the surcharges.
So dumb. Now I'm pissed.
I know. I'm telling you.
It is ridiculous.
Losers at the phone company.
Really good gripe.
Oh,
man.
God.
Oh, Lord. Okay. My gripe. Okay. This is a weird one.
I love when they're niche and weird.
There is this burnt smell that happens outside of my apartment sometimes.
You're having a stroke?
Well, that's what I always think.
My mom said, if you smell burnt toast, you're having a stroke.
Yes,
you need to call 911.
No, I think that's the thing. And I it only happens like once a week or so. Like every couple days, like 2 times a week, when I'm walking my dog, I'll smell this burnt toast smell or burnt bread. And I'm like, oh my God. Like when I first moved in, it was smelling.
Your hypochondria,
I really
really?
thought I was having a stroke. But the only thing I can think is that it's coming from the Kroger, maybe.
Yeah, it has to be.
I can't figure it out.
Are they burning the bagels?
Maybe.
They boil them, though.
I know, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make
Everything
sense.
I think I can't figure it out. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, I don't like it. I'd rather it not happen.
Yeah. Well, we need to get to the bottom of it.
It's a mystery I'll probably never resolve.
We'll launch an investigation.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Cool. I'll get on the
Get on Reddit.
I bet there's a subthread about it. I bet there's a thread.
If anyone will figure it out, it is the Reddit sleuths. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, my grape is going to the fact that we were just talking about on the last episode how we can't find the going out tops. I bought this dress and I might need like a bustier type bodysuit to like wear underneath it, and I was like, let me see what's going on here. So I got on Amazon, was just like looking at them just to see if I even think it might work, and it literally said going out top.
No.
Did you? I posted it.
I didn't see
I tagged you and was like, Hollis, I found the going out tops.
Oh shoot, I must have missed it.
It literally said going out top.
That's hilarious.
On Amazon.
Yes.
And not only did it say going out top, but it was a bustier bodysuit. These are the going out tops.
Did you buy 10 of them?
No, I didn't buy one. I was just looking at them to see. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm workshopping it.
Well,
But
I'm glad they're finally, designing for our age bracket and giving us the going out tops.
I mean, I don't know if those are for our age bracket, but.
Oh, well.
No.
Somebody's age bracket.
Age is just a number. You can wear whatever you want.
That's true.
They're for any age bracket.
I'm bracketless. Don't even try to tie me down.
Don't put a bracket on me.
Don't put a bra on me. Don't put a bracket on me.
That's right.
Okay, my grape is going out to this bento snack box I just got.
Nice.
It's like a big bento box, and I put like cut up veggies and nuts and stuff in it because I realized I will eat healthy snacks if I don't have to do any preparation in the moment.
Yeah.
So like if I just chop a bunch of stuff up, I have it all, like my nuts and my things in like little departments. I will eat a healthy snack. It's the like, I gotta cut
do it.
I know. Up and like get my dip out.
I know.
I'm like, screw it.
I do that as soon as I get home from the grocery.
Yeah.
I wash and cut up the carrots, the celery, the peppers, and like store it in the fridge that way. And I will just like go like a rabbit.
Yeah.
And just out of the refrigerator. Yeah. And I saw this video, I think it was a TikTok or something, and this girl was like, if you want to eat healthy, she's like, just put healthy food on a plate. She goes, you don't even have to cook it.
Yeah, that's
She gets
true.
a plate, she puts some fruit on, she's like, you don't even have to cook it. And I'm like, no, that's totally true.
It is true. It's so much about the presentation.
Yeah. I do this with my kids because they don't like a lot of vegetables cooked, certain ones. But they like raw vegetables more really than they do cooked. And I call them cold plates. And they love it. Raw veggies, dip, cheese stick, maybe a little,
board.
It's essentially a charcuterie board. Yeah. Or it's, what is it called? A crudité.
Yeah.
A crudité. Yeah. Little fruit, little veg, little cheese.
Give it a fun little name.
Cold plate. I can't even take credit for it. As my mom said it, we were on vacation and I had been making them for a long time. I brought one out and she goes, oh no, eat your cold plate. And I was like, that's it. Cold plate.
Cold plate challenge.
So there you go.
Nice.
You want to eat healthy? Put some healthy food on a plate. Eat a cold plate.
Cold plate.
There you go.
Great.
All right.
Awesome. Good episode.
Good up. All right.
See you next time. All right, bye.
Bye.